Hi guys, it's Wendy from Ask the Landlady, and I'm here with all the tips and tricks to help you make a profit in real estate rentals. I do have a book out. I keep shamelessly plugging this. Check it out if you haven't on Amazon. And today's question is, how do I get insurance for my rental properties? Because let's face it, not all insurance is the same, and insurance for your real estate investment is going to be different than the insurance that you put on your home, your homeowners that you do for your primary residence. Instead, you're going to need some specific landlord insurance for your property. It's always wise to check out different policies, meet with an insurance broker or an insurance agent, and really pick their brain that's well versed in it to be thinking about anything that you might not be thinking, and also to try to minimize your costs, because that's something that can easily get very expensive and add a lot of bells and whistles that maybe you don't even need. So do your research. So if you have a bank loan, it's going to be pretty simple, because that lender is going to have a specific set of instructions to you about insurance, or they're going to have a requirement. And they may even have some special clauses depending on what you get, but they're going to say you need to insure it at this amount, and they'll give you that amount, and then you can go to your agent and say, I need this amount. Now, it's gotten very difficult in the insurance industry right now, and a lot of times insurance companies are saying, well, not only do you need that amount, but we're going to require this replacement cost amount, and jacking up the prices, which has been a horrific thing that they have been doing lately. But your lender also, if you have like a big multifamily loan with Fannie Mae, they may have some extra clauses that you need in there, like ordinance or law coverage that's an add-on to that's going to say that if something happens to your property, there's a gap in bringing up your building to code for the newest codes. And so they're going to have all these weird clauses that you may have to acquire and pay for to be in compliance, and that's going to jack up your policy. So if you're going out to buy a property right now, especially if you're going to go buy an apartment building, make sure you get those quotes on insurance and really know what you're looking at, because maybe the person you're buying it from has a policy that's been kind of grandfathered in, or they have that coverage that you may not be able to get as a new person coming into the market, especially since a lot of insurers are coming in. I mean, look what Florida, they're just like State Farm's like, bye, we're not doing anything in this town. And here where I am at, in a small historic town in Ohio, the insurance company I was with for 22 years came in and said, we're no longer going to cover anything over 50 years old. Doesn't matter that I never had a loss, I never had a claim, nothing. I've been with them 22 years, paid all my bills. They just said, nope, nothing over 50 years old. It's a historic town, everything's over 50. So we had to go out and find somebody else. So that's something that if you're going to go do a purchase, that's a definite new thing that usually I could kind of judge it and say, well, I know this building this size will be $5,000 a year for insurance. Well, not anymore, not with all these new things and stuff going on. This is something that you really need to pay attention to, because there's a lot of line items that can make that policy go up quickly. So you want to make sure what you actually need versus what you could get versus what you can afford, and take all those things into account in doing that. If you have lots of properties, definitely, well, first of all, you have to have liability insurance. Let me say that again. You have to have liability insurance, because that's the number one thing that can really get you, is a lawsuit on a claim with a tenant. Say somebody falls and gets hurt, or they die, and there's a huge suit brought against you in the building. You need that liability insurance to kind of cover you for those types of things. Trips and falls, that's the biggest thing. Somebody trips over a curb and says, well, it was loose, and then suddenly you have a claim that your insurance can help you with. They can mitigate it, they can mediate, they can pay it or not pay it, and it can just be something that takes a lot of stress off you in those types of situations. If you have a lot of properties, you want to consider some sort of umbrella liability insurance for, say, $1 million or $3 million. That's going to kind of help you, because, again, you've built this business, you don't want to give it away, you don't want to lose it. Having those things in place can help you for those types of things, those very unfortunate and unexpected items that can really take its toll on what you're trying to do with your business. So other things that you might want to consider is, especially for the multi-units, is loss of business income, especially if you have multi-unit building, there's fire that comes through and everybody has to get displaced. You're going to lose all that money. How are you going to pay your mortgage, right? So there's some factors that have to do with multifamily that's very different than if you're just insuring a single home with a single family. Again, safety features, you're going to need to make sure you're in compliance with all the fire safety and carbon monoxide detectors, Conversely, you want to take out things or not allow things that can make your insurance go up, like trampolines or swimming pools or wood burning fireplaces, that type of thing. Another way to kind of control your expenses, in addition to having these safety features that might give you a break on that, is to look at your deductible. If you're willing and able to take on a higher deductible, say 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, you're going to have a lot of savings there. And that's something that you just have to see how risk adverse you are as a business owner. Do you have enough savings that if something happened and it turned out to be a $200,000 claim, and you've had to put 20,000 of your own money for the thing, could you afford to do that, or do you need to pay every year to get a lower deductible for those types of things? What's happening here, because a lot of the insurances are canceling everything that's old, is that when things are paid off, I tend to self-insure. So I take money from my bank account every month and put it into a separate account, and I call that my like safety net, insurance fund if something happens, big purchases, because since they're paid off, I only carry liability. That's important. Never go without liability insurance. But if something happens to the home, or there's some, windstorm comes in, takes off the roof, I'm going to be on the hook for that, but it's cheaper than the exorbitant policies that I'm seeing out there right now. Now, I have been writing to all my representatives and Congress people. I recommend you do the same, because it's not easy being a landlady, right? Or landlord. We're all in this together, and we should be heard, because this has literally gotten out of control. It's definitely the thing that's keeping me from, making a profit, but I want to be making a profit, right? And that's what's keeping me from doing it. And it's also keeping me from being able to do all the other improvements that I want to do, because if I have to put an extra $50,000 into insurance, well, that's all brand new carpeting that I was going to put in several of my buildings, and a new, patio and all sorts of things that's out the window. So insurance is definitely the bane of my existence. And it's something that you need to keep in mind and always keep your eye on, because it will keep going up. It's never going to go down, right? And it's something that you're going to have to deal with and be able to cover through your business model. So again, we're all here to make a profit and learn from each other. Do you have an insurance story? I'd love to hear about it. Throw it down there in the comments. And as usual, I hope you make a profit and have a great day.